Hey guys, what's up? Pitmaster Brody here. 2021 has been both a great year for me and a pretty messed up one. I started my own business, got certified to work in a hospital, had my apartment roof cave in after Hurricane Ida hit nearby me, became temporarily homeless for weeks, had no power and water for nearly a month while the power and water companies had the nerve to keep sending me bills, and my car broke down multiple times. If it's not obvious, all that really affected my ability to regularly upload content onto this channel. But one of my biggest projects that I unintentionally created for myself in 2021 was making the game room I always wanted, a Back to the Future themed game room. As much as I like Star Wars, I love Back to the Future just as much, and maybe even more now. Back to the Future hasn't been dragged through the mud in the same manner that Star Wars has by Disney, and has remained relatively pure as a result. The creator of the franchise basically gave Hollywood the finger and said, "You're not remaking it while he's alive." Boss move. I feel like if so many more directors and creators took a stand like this, then maybe Hollywood wouldn't be stuck in the rut that they are right now, where MCU films are basically keeping theaters on life support. Back to the subject at hand though. I wanted to build my own Back to the Future inspired arcade room, filled with lots of props from the films, but also 80s nostalgia. Let's face it, I'd rather be living in a time period where the music isn't trash, malls are still a thing, and some new coof of a code name isn't trying to unalive me every single week. While some of the stuff in this room I previously owned, I bought a lot of it from various places like thrift stores, yard sales, Amazon, Etsy, eBay, and Mercari. I rarely paid full price for anything that you see here. A few things I had to build on my own simply because there wasn't any equivalent, which forced me to do my own research. Many of the 8x10 photos you see in this room I just had printed out at a FedEx on glossy paper they had available. Great way to fill up space, and it's a lot cheaper than going on Amazon and buying posters individually. The picture frames are all from Walmart and Target, except for a few large ones. Now, this really large picture here I really liked because it reminds me of CD arcades from the mid-90s. The kind that always smelled like cigarette smoke, half the buttons on the games were broken, people were taking bets on fighting games. I don't know, it always seemed like trashy arcades like that had a crappy third-rate fighting game in the corner that no one ever touched because everybody had their quarters on the rack waiting for their turn on Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct, or Street Fighter. This is a custom bar top arcade machine. Top half is a Pandora's box arcade stick seated in an MDF wood frame. MDF is a type of engineered wood that's commonly found in home cabinets. I like it because it's heavy and sturdy. Works great for building arcade cabinets. The MDF wood was a part of a kit that cost about $90. You can find it on Etsy. If you can put together furniture, you could probably build this frame. This arcade stick is a Pandora's box. It's a plug-and-play emulator with thousands of games on it, so the hard part was just building the arcade cabinet for it to sit in. The monitor's 22 inches and I bought it from Goodwill for $10. Goodwill is a really good place to go if you just want to get a cheap monitor or TV. Just be good about testing them in the store, because a lot of them won't let you take it back. The chrome molding was only $17 and came from Pep Boys. I could have used T-molding, but I found just using some chrome molding for cars with a hot glue gun works too. The marquee was printed out at FedEx, and image was something I downloaded off of Google Images that I liked. I did have to buy a glass cutter at Home Depot for a few bucks to cut the plexiglass myself because the measurement dimensions were so unique in order to fit into the marquee area. Because I only had a faint idea from watching YouTube videos and reading a few sites, cutting plexiglass was not fun. I screwed up multiple times, but I didn't manage to cut myself, fortunately. It took me 3 goddamn hours to get something acceptable though. In the future I might just have somebody do it professionally because doing it by hand sucks. The top half of this arcade is sitting on top of a 37 by 22 by 17 inch cabinet that I built myself with maple plywood, and then spray painted matte black. The wood was cut from a single 4x8 foot sheet, which cost me about $60. I put it together with an electric screwdriver, nails, and some wood glue. I bought a 3D printed cup holder and a mock coin door off of Etsy, both of which cost $10 each. The real gem of this machine is at the bottom of it, and a big reason why I had to custom make this cabinet. I put a mini fridge inside this bitch. Now I'm far from the first person to try this idea. A lot of people online have modded their arcade 1-ups with a mini fridge too. But my cabinet is a lot bigger than a stock arcade 1-up machine, and I think looks a lot cooler than most arcade 1-up cabinets, except for maybe a few. Next door, I got a Toy Shock Virtual Pinball with Haunted House. I actually picked this up for only $200 at a yard sale. Normally goes for $400 plus retail, and possibly higher right now because they're sort of hard to come by thanks to shortages. I was planning on modding this with some custom tables, but I've found out that emulating pinball machines isn't as easy as I thought it would be. It's definitely not like just emulating video games. I'll get around to it in time, as I do want to put in the Back to the Future pinball game into this cabinet. The LED lights you see under the bottom are Govee Smart LED lights. Cost about $25 off of Amazon. They link to your phone, and you can do a lot more flashy patterns than standard LEDs. Now about the couch. I really wanted to have a nice 80s style couch like you saw in these old 80s style sitcoms, but due to doorways, limited space, and cost, I had to settle for a futon. This is like the number one thing I want to replace in my room in the future, but I just don't really know what else I can put in there reasonably. I put a sofa daddy caddy in the middle for holding drinks and remote controls, and I also made a custom pillow with Ricky Berwick and Christopher Lloyd. You can tell poor Christopher is second guessing his life choices right now. But I actually have another custom pillow, and that's one of Crypt Daddy, aka Donovan. Both pillows were made on Amazon. There's a number of sellers on there that will take any image you upload and make blankets, pillows, and other cool stuff. The blue pulsing light that you see going around a 3-piece picture set behind the futon is a Govee Glide Smart Light. You can click them together and then you stick them to your wall and control the colors with your phone. I managed to snag this during a sale for $80. Normally they go for about $150. People I've shown the Govee Glide lights to on average tend to like them way more than those nanoleaf and octo-shaped LED lights that every streamer on Twitch seems to have. I was originally going to put those up, but I decided against it. Now, this massive Back to the Future poster was one of the few posters I bought retail. I picked this one up at Michael's and the frame there as well. The poster was $20, but the frame, which was like 40 by 60, normally I would have tried to buy this online because Michael's is expensive, but shipping cost would have been really nasty. Probably would have gotten broken getting sent to me too, and not many places have very large picture frames like this, so I just went to Michael's. Ended up costing me like $50 for the frame alone. I really like the size, but I hate spending that kind of money for a poster. Again, a lot of the 8x10 pictures that you see here are just pictures I printed out at FedEx. The Cafe 80s menu was something I bought off of eBay though. I think it was like $12 or something. One of these days I'm going to try making one of the menu items on here to see if it's any good. I wish Pepsi would put out some Pepsi Perfect. I think they only did it like once. And Crystal Pepsi again. They have like 800 Pepsi flavors in these soda machines at Wendy's, but they can't add those two for some reason. It's bullshit. The Kit and DeLorean cars between the Magic 8 Ball are from Jada Toys. They're at multiple toy stores and Amazon too. I almost always see them when I go inside of like Walmarts and Targets. Again, while the majority of the stuff in this room is Back to the Future, it is sort of like a celebration of 80s nostalgia. Kit was a pretty badass car and still is. The Back to the Future 2 hoverboard up on a wall is actually just a cardboard cutout that's meant for Halloween costumes. I originally wanted to get a replica that's a bit more accurate to the prop in the film, but so many online sellers really gouged the prices on hoverboard replicas. And I'm feeling like I'll end up stripping down a skateboard from Goodwill, a used skateboard, and then using some vinyl or some stickers to make my own prop down the road. This right here is my main arcade unit for the room. I took a Legends Gamer Pro emulator stick, screwed it in on top of two stereo stands that I picked up from eBay for about $15 each. The Legends Gamer Pro was about $90 used on eBay. The TV is from Goodwill and only set me back $20. This is not a difficult build for anyone to do, and I think it came out great. At a later time, I might build a wood stand to drop the Legends Gamer Pro stick into because it's kind of a chunky boy. I used a flash USB stick loaded with 7,000 something games, and I put it right into this unit. But The big difference between this unit and the other one is this one's got light gun games and Laserdisc titles. The light gun performance is kind of sketchy because it's an aim track gun, and due to how many lights I got going on in a room, it gets confused unless you're really close. I hear the solution is to get a send-in light gun, which doesn't need a sensor bar, but they're currently only available for Kickstarter backers, and some people who have gotten a few extra ones sell them on eBay for way higher than I really want to pay. My shelves here in the corner of my room is loaded with Back to the Future related shiznit. We got Marty's hat from 2015 here. This Pepsi can is actually a container for boxer shorts, but I like the design of this thing so much I just put it up on my shelf. The Blockbuster sign and mini tape are from Etsy. You definitely start to miss video rental stores even with all their flaws in our current day and age. I really think they should try to manage a comeback. There's a few amiibos on this shelf, but a lot of the stuff is 3D printed things I picked out from Etsy. Etsy is just a great site to find 3D printed stuff for cheap. I only spent about $40 for all. Next shelf has an LED VHS lamp of Back to the Future, the movie. This is from eBay, and I thought it was so awesome when I first saw it. The only bad thing about it is it's using some pretty cheap LEDs and a remote to change the lights, and it just catches interference from everything in a room, like Bluetooth on my phone and my TV remote, so the lights are always constantly changing on their own. The DeLorean right here is from Jada Toys. I think I actually picked this up from Walmart for only about 17 bucks. The time circuit lamp here is from the official Back to the Future online store. Cost me about 35 bucks, which is pretty cheap compared to some of the custom-made time circuit props I've seen available on eBay and Etsy. Some of those I've seen go for over 100 bucks or higher easily. Now, what I want to do in the future is get a boombox cassette tape player to put up on this shelf, but that might be tricky with all the stuff that's already up here. The Back to the Future figures that you see here are from NECA, and they're based off of the animated series that aired in the early 90s. Poor Biff looks like a goddamn gorilla in that show. Tom Wilson might want to ask about who did him like that, because the animators definitely had it out for him. I picked up this VHS DVD combo player from Goodwill, but it's missing the remote. I ordered one off of eBay, and it should be in around the time this video gets released. It's tested and working, and I got a plug-in to upscale the signal to 720p for the VHS side. I'd like to get a Laserdisc player later on, but I've heard they're notoriously a pain in the ass to keep working properly. Lastly, the really cool retro wave Back to the Future rug I got on my floor is from Etsy. Cost me 90 bucks, and it's actually pretty nice. I was prepared for the worst initially. It's one of the first things I ever bought off of Etsy, and when I got it, I was like looking at it and I realized I gotta make a Back to the Future game themed room. I learned a lot of things when I designed and decorated this room. I never thought I could figure out how to build an arcade cabinet, much less build one with a mini fridge inside of it. But once I started, I knew I couldn't go back. I had to finish this. What makes me the happiest about this room is my friends' reaction to it. They all universally love it. Some of them don't really care about Star Wars, but it's pretty rare to find somebody that actively hates Back to the Future. I even had one of my friends that wants to basically sleep in this room like an Airbnb. I'm still deciding on that, though. I don't know if I'll ever do any more extreme room designs like this, or well, this is extreme in my case. My bedroom is pretty simple, and my kitchen is pretty barren in terms of design. Anyways, thanks for watching this, and remember, this room is cooler than your room.